Hey guys, it's David here. Although I've shown my 240-gallon tank multiple times, I realized that I've never actually just sat down and talked about it. This is currently my largest aquarium, but it won't be for much longer. So I figured we could talk about it today. So come on. So what you're looking at is my 8-foot long by 2 feet wide by 2 feet high Clear for Life acrylic aquarium. I love this tank for many reasons. Although there are times that I wish I would have gone with a glass tank as a large display, like I have with my Mbuna and also my Peacock and Hap tank, for a tank this size, the logistics alone of trying to move it would have been somewhat of a nightmare for me. And as anyone who's ever moved a giant glass tank before knows, your friends tend to disappear when it's time to move it. You know what I'm talking about. Thankfully, this tank only took myself and one other person to move, and it wasn't bad. The other thing that I really love about acrylic tanks is the fact that when I'm looking at them, I hardly feel like there's anything separating myself and my wet pets. Even though it doesn't show up very well on camera, I promise you, it is crystal clear. And if you were here in person with me, you would say the same thing. There's one word that I don't like to throw around a lot when it comes to fish keeping, and that is centerpiece fish. There aren't a lot of fish that I would necessarily consider a centerpiece fish, but the one you're looking at right now, to me, is absolutely a centerpiece fish, and the reason why I bought this tank in the first place. When I first got Fonzie, my fire eel, he was only about 5 to 6 inches, but eventually he could reach sizes of 30 inches or more, and that's a lot of fish, and he's gonna need a lot of tank. Currently, he's about 15 inches or so, and he eats a lot. I know some people buy their tank and then try to figure out what fish they're going to put in it, but I like to do it the other way around. I like to figure out what fish I want to put in it and then get the tank that's appropriate. But that's really just kind of a chicken or the egg kind of thing. Both ways work fine, but that's just the way that I try to do things. And when it comes to fish keeping, I feel like no matter how much planning you do, it never turns out the way that you expected. There are definitely fish in here that I had no intention of putting in here. And there are fish that I would love to put in here, but I just don't think I'm ever going to be able to. One of the unexpected things that happened right away when I set up this tank was I'd purchased a polar parrot breeding pair. Along with that, there was also a Honduran red point. I removed the male immediately, but it was too little, too late. So I ended up with all these fry, and I honestly didn't think that any of them were going to survive. I never stepped in, and I'm pretty sure you can see what happened. It's fine. I ended up selling most of them, but I did keep the ones that I plan to try to breed in the future and see what I can come up with. There's one of them right now, and I don't know what you think, but I think he's absolutely gorgeous. Well, she anyways. My intention was to always have bigger fish in this tank. The last fish I planned on adding was a Carpentis and some Oscars, so that's exactly what I did. Another unexpected thing that happened was my male Nicaraguan and my female Nicaraguan cichlids kept digging pits, laying eggs, having fry, and then the male would just get crazy super aggressive. So what I ended up doing was I took the 2 females out, and they are now living comfortably with a bunch of peacocks. And I know you may think that's kind of crazy, and it is, but I was talking to a guy at my local fish store, and he was telling me that he likes to use them as dithers in his Peacock and Hap tank. And because they're so big and so aggressive, it actually helps to calm down the entire tank. And I was skeptical, but I gotta be honest, it's actually working out pretty well. I had bred and raised quite a few rainbow fish that were in this tank. Basically all of the Boesemani and the red Irians. But I ended up selling pretty much all of them. I think there's 1 or 2 stragglers in here still, and the rest of the rainbow fish in here are ones that I purchased. That leaf tenopoma is one of the cooler fish that I have in this tank. I have multiples of them in here. I kind of feel like they don't get enough credit. That right there is my lemon Oscar that I call Sloth because he is so ugly. You can't really see it as much on video, but in person, he has kind of a facial deformity. So it reminds me a lot of Sloth from the Goonies. Pretty ugly, but very lovable. I tend to throw a lot of Sebrums in any tank that they'll fit and they'll work out in. They are one of my favorite cichlids of all time. I think festivums are kind of boring. I think that's my one regret in this tank, is having all these festivums in here. They don't really do much. They're kind of like a shorter, fatter, less pretty version of an angelfish. I mean, don't get me wrong, I still like them. I just would have never bought them if I could do a reset. You may also notice that I have a bunch of electric blue cars in here. A lot of these guys are ones that I've already bred and had hundreds of babies, already sold pretty much all of them. There's a local distributor who took the last 100 or so of the ones that I had. Everyone else is just an older fish or leftover that I just decided that I was gonna keep anyways. And if you've seen any of my previous videos, you know this guy. This is my big pearl cichlid, my big daddy, who's got hundreds and hundreds of babies that I'm gonna have to figure out what I'm gonna do with. Such a pretty fish though. You probably also noticed that I definitely love Viejas. There's quite a few Viejas in here. I know in the future they may be a problem, but right now they're working out just fine. If they need their own tank, they're gonna get their own tank eventually. But I feel like when you raise fish up from really small sizes together, it tends to help it work out in the future. So here's to hoping. I know a lot of people don't like hybrids, but I really like these parrots. They are cool fish. And there's my Carpentis. He is very pretty. Well, he was sold to me as a Carpentis. I guess we'll see when he gets older. I'm not still 100% certain on exactly what he is yet, but that's what he was sold to me as. I really love those bala sharks that I have in here too. Although I did lose one of them. Unfortunately, I made kind of a stupid mistake where I came down at night because I heard one of the filters, and without turning the lights on, I heard a very loud thump. And then the next morning, I come downstairs and one of my smaller bala sharks was upside down, and you can pretty much guess what happened. Poor little guy. That was definitely a big gut punch. Those bigger barbs in here that you see, those are spanner barbs, and they're big. They're already probably about 5 inches. They just dart around the tank all day. And one of the last additions to this tank was my flagtail Prochilidus. And he is a really awesome fish. He's so pretty, just very laid back, chill, does a great job of cleaning off all the rocks, all the hardscape, the back of the tank, never a problem. And one of the other cooler fish in here that I really like is my platinum parrot cichlid. Let's see if we can find him. And he's already bred with some of these other pretty ladies in here, and they've had fry, but I think what's happening is at night the fire eel is coming out and he's just going to town. And I'm fine with that. So between the eel and all my Bichurs, you know, it's just nature taking its course. And lastly, this huge Synodontis is such a cool fish. He is such a thick-bodied fish. His finnage is amazing. All in all, I would say that this tank brings me a lot of enjoyment. There's already been some pretty massive changes with more to come. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Until next time.